Okay, it's 9 o'clock. It's called the Blanco County Commissioner Court to order. It's Tuesday, March the 14th, 2023, and that's Ms. Wallen to call the roll.
Judge Bray.
Here.
Commissioner Weir.
Here.
Commissioner Eaker.
Here.
Commissioner Eastman.
Here.
Commissioner White.
Here. Please join us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please make minutes of invitations. That's all right.
Good morning, God. We thank you for another day. We thank you, God, for your goodness. We thank you for being the shepherd that you are, how you watch over us, how you provide for us, and how you protect us. Father, you know we live in a chaotic world right now, and we ask for your leadership and for your guidance, your sweet, sweet spirit just to rest upon each and all in this room. I especially pray for their protection. I ask you to grant them the wisdom that is needed. And God, not only be with them in this room, but be with them as they go back to the families that they serve. Just touch them. We thank you for your presence that assures us of your goodness and your guidance. And I bless each and all in this room today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Folks, have a good day.
Before moving to public comments, I had an item of community interest I want to take up. Thank you. Last week, I was unable to attend the Blue Country 100 Club annual meeting, but was able to get a summary of some of the results out of that meeting in Burnett, and wanted to share it with the court and the county and hopefully the newspapers. Of course, you all know the Hill Country 100 Club, what all they do for first responders and the families of fallen first responders. So I can't think of a more admirable and worthy organization to devote one's time and resources to, but each year they have an opportunity to honor some of the first responders in the region. And I wanted to mention that this past Tuesday, they honored Deputy Jorge George Zagata as the Deputy of the Year for the Blanco County Sheriff's Office. They also honored Robert Turner, Captain Robert Turner, as the Emergency Medical Personnel of the Year for the Blanco County North ESD, and Paramedic Ben Colley as Emergency Medical Personnel for the of the year for the Blanco County South ESD. Officer Marcus Gonzalez as the Officer of the Year for the Blanco Police Department. You know, Officer Gonzalez has also been with Blanco County in a different capacity than he was with the Department of Public Safety. Lieutenant Joseph Berry was the Firefighter of the Year for the Blanco County ESD South. And Julian Zagata was Firefighter of the Year for the Johnson City Volunteer Fire Department, with Jeff Oaken, Firefighter of the Year for the Round Mountain Volunteer Fire Department. The most interesting thing that I was reading while I was in Lubbock last week was the Meritorious Award recipient for Blanco County. And I'm just going to read it to you the way it was written to me. Ray Bible has been a volunteer firefighter in Johnson City for over 40 years, joining at the age of 17 while still in high school. At the present time, he leads the organization as the president of the board and assistant fire chief for the department. Ray always puts others ahead of him. While traveling this past summer in Corpus Christi, Ray and his wife witnessed a vehicle accident at 12:30 a.m. They were first on the scene. Two vehicles collided, causing a pickup to flip over the median and into oncoming traffic. The pickup caught fire. When Ray rushed to the vehicle, the driver damaged and the driver could not release his seatbelt nor exit the vehicle. Ray entered the vehicle on the passenger side, released the driver's seatbelt, and pulled him from the vehicle into safety. Upon exiting the vehicle, he noticed 2 car seats in the rear seat, like child seats. He returned to the vehicle to look for additional passengers, but there was no one else in the vehicle. By this time, the vehicle was fully engulfed in flames. The driver had a concealed carry weapon in the glove box, and it began shooting off rounds. Upon returning home to Johnson City, Ray put together a training program using his experience as a tool for members of the Johnson City Volunteer Fire Department. So that was the write-up that was used to award him the Meritorious Award recipient for the year, and I felt the need to share it with the court and with the county. And some of you may already know it. I don't know how I was not aware of this. It's funny how some things just don't get shared very well, especially I guess if you're not looking for the publicity or the praise. But I did ask Ray to step in for this morning. I'm sure he's got lots to do today, but I did ask him to step in this morning so that possibly we would consider giving him a round of applause and everything else for his valuable service to the community. Anyone say anything?
Yeah, that wasn't even supposed to come out because I threatened my wife not to say nothing about it for many months. Apparently it did slip out somewhere to the fire department guys, because we did talk about it, but they made a promise to keep it quiet too. So it's not nothing that any big thanks to me. I mean, I think anybody would do the same thing. I would hope that they would. Thank y'all for recognizing it, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All due respect, I think it was probably a big thing to the guy in the truck.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move to public comments. Let's see. And that takes us down on the agenda to consideration of the minutes.
I make a motion to dispense with reading of minutes and accept them as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Wheeler, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Payrolls, item 2.
I make a motion to approve the estimated payroll for the March 2023 in the amount of $409,210.10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Wiley, discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 3, official reports, and I believe they were all here. Yes, they are. And available for inspection for acceptance here.
I move to approve the official reports as presented.
Is there a second?
A second.
Commissioner Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 4, line item transfers in the R&M this morning, so we move to item 5, which are the outstanding bills.
So I'd like to add a bill that we received for the water truck to be approved in court in the amount of $125,758.7, and add that to the existing bills at the amount of $390,606.51. And motion by approval.
Is there a second?
A second.
Commissioner Eager, discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will see those minutes this morning, but I just see Sanders and Casey, so would you all like to make the presentation?
Yes.
I believe we have a report on the stock show in the exhibit hall.
That's correct. Good morning. Mr. Beavers is on his way to Rodeo Austin to that stock show. So I'm here. So good morning. I wanted to report on the 2023 Blanco County Youth Exhibit Hall. This contest is open to all of the 4-H, FCCLA, and FFA members in Blanco County. And several of y'all I saw there in January, and we were glad you were there. The contest is divided into 5 classes, and it's a real traditional homemaking show with lots of foods and cakes and quilts and all wonderful work. We had about 42 volunteers that helped us with the contest this year, and we estimate about 1,000 visitors came through. As far as economic development goes, I thought it was important to point out that I had 2 participants tell me that they have purchased vehicles this year with their earnings from past years, so that's huge. They can drive themselves to part-time jobs and all of their extracurricular activities. Mostly the kids tell me they are saving money for college, and they sometimes spend it on 4-H camp or other camps that they find, but I thought it was really nice that they bought vehicles, which really helps their families. And I had another 4-H'er standing beside me, and he said, "We can buy cars." And I was like, "Yes, you can. Save your money that you're earning." And speaking of money, this year all of our sweepstakes champion and reserve champion awards were sponsored. That includes the belt buckles, tote bags, travel bags, and even the rosettes and ribbons were sponsored. So all of the money that we took in as entry fees went to pay judges, and it went out in prize money. And I gave you, I think you have our handout, but there's a chart there that shows that this year we had 53 exhibitors showing 318 projects or exhibits, and we paid out $2,210 in prize money, and the silent auction made $14,603, and that was about $5,000 more than last year. So in 2022, the silent auction earned $9,158. So it was a big jump this year, and we were very excited about that. So as far as the Blanco County Youth Show, Chris Reamer says it was a great year for the youth show. Thank you to the support of our community and neighboring counties. The sale, including add-ons, brought in excess of $1 million to our youth. This was, I believe, the first time it was over $1 million. It's very exciting. Most champions sold for $8,000 to $10,000. A pair of rabbits sold for $17,000, and a goat towards the end of the sale brought in about $22,000. So overall, it was an excellent year for the exhibitors, and thank you to everyone's support.
The folks in the program here at courthouse and meetings are beneficiaries of some of those projects in the exhibit hall, so thank you too.
Very good.
You give these on good.
Yes, that's true.
And some of the cards that I get, besides buying cars or college, say they, some of them are actually interested in turning the money over into the next project and trying to do better next time.
Very good. That's a good use of their earnings, I think.
Okay, Casey, you have anything you're adding?
Oh, to the slope show?
Yeah.
Well, it was a lot smaller than what I'm used to because I'm from Corpus, but it was very homey. I liked how everyone helped out, and it was just exciting to be there to see the show.
So I'm going to be confused because you're about to change it. Your last name now is,
I'm going to be McPherson,
but it's
Sutherland.
Casey Sullivan today, Casey McPherson soon.
So I would like to say a couple of things. First off, I would like to praise you for the work that you did from moving from the old exhibit hall to making do this year with inside the stock show, ground stock show. And then secondly, I can personally tell you that as opposed to buying cars, my son used his stock show earnings over the years and put his down payment for his house. So that was how he used it.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you change our culture, right? Is when we're buying cars and how houses with things that we can do right here at home, so that's amazing. And I do have to say that the youth show was very generous with their space inside the show barn, and they set up a really nice area for us with a cattle panel. And so we had a huge space. I had a few heart palpitations over that and not having a building to have in, but it worked out beautifully. And it's very hard to visualize space when you go from a building to a bigger building. I don't know. So it worked out great, and everybody, you know, we had a lot of grace with us this year, and we just kind of rolled with it. So, but we are looking forward to a brand new building to use in 2024 for our and also. Thank you.
Anything else? All right, let's move to the next item. Casey would like to talk to us about a walk across Texas program. Sorry, are you part of it too?
Well, I
Looks like you were.
we're partnering on this, but Casey's taking the lead.
Are you sure?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you should have, this handout, and this was our, records for last year. So it says the relevance and, the summary and the results for it. So there are 7 teams that participated last year. We're going to add our Waco County employees, try to get them to participate more. And we want to incentivize them with doing 4 hours if they get our goal, which is 832 miles per team.
Can you speak a little closer to the microphone, please?
Of course, of course. Renee, say anything?
No, you're doing fine.
Okay. So that 832 miles is an equivalent of walking the whole length of Texas. So the teams will try to get that goal, and if they do meet that goal, we will going to give them at least 4 hours of administrative leave. And then if they don't, it's fine. You know, it's a hard goal, but it really pushes them to really achieve it. They will be on their own to record. It's going to be an honor system. They record all of their miles.
So the goal is 832 miles. And you can have up to 8 people on a team.
Yes.
If you have 8 people on a team, that's 104 miles per person. Right?
I haven't done the math.
You trust me? And if it's fewer people, they're gonna have to make up more miles.
Yes.
You only have 4 people on teams, 208 miles.
Yes.
So the goal would be to have a team of 8, because that's a lot of miles.
Yes, I would hope they would want a team of 8.
And this is over basically about a 2-month period, right?
Yes, it's 8 weeks.
Starts 8.
March, let me see, 19th and goes to May 13th.
And I don't know what the average hourly rate in Waco County is, maybe can't be more about $25 to $30 a piece an hour. So add $25 an hour with 4 hours, $100 per person. That's what it costs us to give them administrative leave per person that accomplishes this. So, and so the maximum, I mean, every single person in Waco County employment, they're talking about maybe $8,000, maybe. And that's assuming it wasn't high on the hourly rate, and that's assuming every person did.
Yes.
So I've been with organizations, TxDOT, and in fact, the entire state of Texas, through state agencies, has done a similar program. So no telling what it costs them in administrative leave. But I mean, it was the same kind of thing, and it's the same kind of, and it's an honor system. You want to explain that?
So whenever you go and you sign up for a team, your team captain will make the team and they'll send your code. So you can send it to 8 people or how many people you want on that team. After you become on that team, you'll go to Howdy Help and you'll record your miles that leave day month. In that county health for your team. And so everybody in the team will go and add their miles. And then at the end, we'll get to see how many miles.
And if it's 831, they don't qualify.
Sadly,
So this is a two-step process. You and I are asking the court for the administrative leave option of the Walk Across Texas program.
yes,
And in any case, even if they're not willing to do that, we're wanting them to support, sponsor, encourage the program.
yes, just, get as many people, even if they would don't wanna do it, get as many people, invite their friends, even if they're not county employees. We want the whole community to be involved.
And okay, that part was lost to me.
Oh.
So if I can get 7 other people in the community to put in their miles, and if the court were to approve administrative, I can get administrative leave,
Just you,
just me, well, yeah, I work for the county.
yes. So they would be able to have anybody on their team, just literally be a county employee who would get that 4 hours if they meet the goal.
Okay, so if I, anybody, right?
Mhm.
So if I wanted to get Jackie Early to be on my team. And she runs,
It has to be an adult.
it does,
Yes.
well, how,
I would say 18, yeah.
So you can't get the track team, so the cross country team is out of your team, off your team.
That was a good time.
So Casey, are you gonna be monitoring and you'll be watching to figure out, what county employees will be on each team and how many miles they track if their team is
Yes.
made it or not, and you report that back to the judge's office?
Yes, I'll have it, every time they log something, I can see it, and then we can just calculate everything.
and so this is really on you
Yes,
and your department. And the only thing Ms. Swift is gonna have to do at the end is to check mark if they get 4 hours of administrative leave or don't, depending on what you tell her, right?
yes,
So next week, I get to go to a risk management conference, and I know they're gonna tell me all about, things that I need to do to improve the health of my community, so I'm going to be fully supportive of your efforts here. And I'm gonna make a motion to approve the 4-hour administrative leave for any Blackwood County employee that participates on the team, that gets the 832 miles in the time frame from March 19th to May 13th.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Ryder, discussion. Do you offer any assistance in creating the teams?
we can, if they, don't have anybody or they don't know anybody, we can offer assistance, and we can, lead people into the right direction of, hey, this person we need to want to make a whole team, and we can help out with that.
And vice versa, any one person can make a person.
Yes,
So if somebody's interested, they should let you know.
yes.
Anything else? Are we covering it? Was there anything you wanted to add that we need to do besides the incentive hours? Was there, you want to go on our website, right? Well, I guess you don't care.
No, we broadcasted it throughout, EverLife,
Okay.
and, I'm going to send Connie a flyer once this has been voted on, to send out to Blanco County employees.
So you were talking at one time with me about a flyer, something that could fit with the material that Ms. Swift gives out when she gives out paychecks.
Yes, I have given that. Sorry.
So anticipation of a positive result for you.
And that, it doesn't say anything about the 4 hours or anything, it just gives them a little flyer.
And it's the second flyer, so they know.
Oh, yes, that's why I haven't given it to Connie. I'm really hoping.
Okay.
So I would like to add, since we are in this great room here and I have competitive nature in my body, I'd like to add to challenge the ESDs and the fire department and EMS to join us and get teams, great teams for your challenge.
Of course, y'all let me know if you're interested.
That's the reason why they can't be part of the teams, like any citizen, right? Except for.
Yes.
We're on. Realize she's in like 5 miles a day. Okay. All opposed, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Congratulations, Casey.
Thank you.
Item A, Mr. Shellcase is on the television screen, and we received bids Friday before last. On the Starlight project, and as I recall, a little bit more substantial than what we kind of had hoped they would be from some time ago. And it was very disappointing for me that every person I talked to who's knowledgeable on the subject says that the house that you could build for $100 a square foot before is now $200 or $250 a square foot, and the building is starting to build $200 a square foot before is twice that now. So if that's true, then these bids should not be surprising, even though they were. So, Mr. Shellness, do you want to outline?
Yes, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for getting me hooked up, Connie. So we had originally 11 bidders. So we started off in the December timeframe, very hopeful about this. And as you can see, only 2 of the 11 general contractors provided a bid. And even of that, the 2 bidders didn't bid all of the alternates, except for one contractor gave us 4 out of the 5 alternate bids. So there was a lot of discussion on the project. I had a lot of, inquiry onto the job, not a lot of clarification on the plans or the specifications. It was really more about logistics and timing and just clarification issues. So we feel like everything was delineated fairly well in the project, but I mean, what I have seen over the past 30 days or less on projects bidding is there's a lot of makeup, I think, being done by especially subcontractors, because a lot of their pricing is just exorbitant. So we have already reached out to the 2 bidders, have asked for their thoughts and impressions on what was bid or specified, and trying to get some feedback. The first 3 elements that popped up from both of the 2 bidders were all of the infrastructure elements related to IT, data, communications, and the fueling systems were higher than they've ever seen anything. And I think a lot of that is just location, proximity. But so I have the electrical engineers and the civil engineers working on trying to see where it just went wrong, where it went awry. The other element is site work, that there was just a lot more site development that was done. And a lot of it had to do with the drainage. So the original fire department, volunteer fire department, had an area of water retention on the design that was not installed. And so that kind of impacted the water flow on our site, being we're at the very back end of the site. And so the site retention drainage systems capturing was just a lot more. And they said that was a fairly high number. And then the other was site paving was really extensive. That we already knew it was going to be there, but as I heard 4 days ago at a concrete pour, that concrete is now $250 a cubic yard, where a year and a half, 2 years ago, it was 100. So I think we just have a lot of costs there, but we have contacted the civil engineer, the mechanical electrical engineer to start looking at specific things that we could look at potentially changing manufacturers to reduce some of the funding allocations. So back about a year and a half ago, I think, when the South Annex was bid, we had to make the discussions of looking at contacting both bidders for a best and final offer, kind of in a 2-week time frame, to give them an opportunity to maybe refine some elements or find some different subs, or, as I feel like we're seeing, is kind of a greed factor of allowing that another opportunity. Or we could look at just negotiating with the low bidder and try to start valuing the costs that we currently have.
So what was on the site paving, was it concrete all the way?
No, it was I don't have the drawings with me, but it was what we had originally discussed with some type of an overlay, I think like a chip seal type base material that we had discussed about a year ago. And even there was discussions that it was a product that y'all might be able to supply as well.
Did you consult any of the 9 to ascertain why they didn't bid?
So I'm going to tell you that I got about 40% of them. I spoke with about 5 of the ones that did not turn in a bid, and their comment was they were too busy. And those 5 happened to all be within the San Antonio region.
There's a company that's not on here. And I cannot remember the name for certain. It starts with an F. I think they're out of Seguin. And I believe they built the Emergency Services District 2 building on Blanco Avenue in Blanco.
That was the company from that did the Blanco building.
Yes. Fisher. Koehler. Have you ever heard of Koehler?
No, sir. Is that somebody y'all would like for us to reach out to? And
Well, I have a thought in mind, but I'm kind of waiting to you see the bids are well over that. But in the event that you want to go forward on this and with the bidders that you have, both of them are projecting well over 365 days. So, which means it will roll into another budget year, which means if you're wanting to do one of these projects at anywhere near these prices, we can still have the opportunity. We can still approve it, and you can account for the shortfall in the next budget cycle.
Mhm.
That's one option. Another option, I suppose, I think I'm hearing Scott say that they may that there's room to reduce the price. I'm just having trouble imagining going from 4.8 million to 3.4 million.
So I do know, sorry to interrupt, there's, not that it's only about 2% of the project value, but we do have $100,000 contingency in the project. And a lot of that was just to help us if we have any issues, especially with the site. That could also be used towards allocation for water and or septic systems in the project. So that's there. And then we had identified, there's about $250,000 worth of savings on the site. And it's just one of those that we just need to sit down with the Starflight representatives and with the ESD. So if that's with Mike and especially Ben, definitely to kind of go over some of the, just the communications, the IT data, infrastructure elements, as well as the fueling systems were really, really high. And I'm not for sure if we can see if they're willing to go from a very expensive automobile to a lesser expensive automobile.
Understand that we've had this discussion before in other projects. I feel like we have to do this project right, and I say that because, for example, yesterday's article was about this subdivision. It's in Burnett County, but it's on the northeast corner of 71-281, and it recited 2,000 residential units, another 1,000 like apartment, multi-family units, and then some sort of senior living, all on 1,000 acres. So density, and thank God it's not in Blanco County, but it's on Blanco County, and it's certainly within the service area of a Starflight place. And that's just one development. They're just coming fast and furious. So even though the original interlocal agreement with Travis County contemplated this as starting out as a sort of a part-time thing, it's going to be a full-time thing before you know it. And so the facility needs to be prepared to be a full-time facility.
Judge, was there any, in the conversations with Starflight, is there a time frame that has to be constructed by?
I don't think so. The only two things I don't see, the only two things I remember in the interlocal are the two criteria that we had to complete, which is obtain well sorted. We obtained what we thought was the financing, and we did get the deed accomplished. But other than that, it worked out into the time period needed, which was a good thing because they're transitioning from I think they're transitioning from a full-time to part-time to two full-time overtime. So the timeframe kind of works maybe in our favor. But
So in the construction world, as we all know, everything is crazy, and I understand people not bidding because they just don't have the time, because it's more common than you'd expect right now. Do you feel strongly enough that you might be able to get the bidder from the South ESD to give us some numbers to try to go back out to bid?
me?
Yes.
I have no clue. All I tell you is, I inquired of Ben who did that building, and when I researched that company, just when I say research, just area research. I don't know them or I haven't had any conversations with them. I just see them as somebody who built a good product, and evidently competition is really needed if we're going to combat these prices.
Ben, do you feel that the company that produced y'all's building, do you feel that they would be willing to bid this project?
I think it's like you said, it's an unprecedented time, so I can't really, I don't work for Taylor. Steve Taylor, the vice president there, is very friendly, and I'm sure he would be open to a conversation, but I don't think we can commit to submitting a bid per se, just since I don't represent them, honestly.
So if we was to go back out to bid, go back out to advertise the bid again, would we change anything in the specs, Scott, that would help us, or would we keep the specs the same?
Good question. I mean, I've never encountered this. I mean, we could look at trying to do some value elements on the project and then put it out for bid. I mean, to me, the best is just to leave it as it is and start working on that list so that if you get a third bidder on the project, we'll at least have a comparison. And, you know, the two bidders that we had were within 5% of each other. And in fact, those two bidders have been kind of, neck and neck the last three projects. It's kind of really up to y'all. I almost feel like I think we'd have better success in negotiating now rather than trying to redo this and all of these same people see the same project come out again. I'm always fearful about what they may do, and that bee may potentially drop out because we're going to add another 4 weeks.
The better one, like hard line times, because you said it's open-ended on time, to where maybe they got projects going right now, but maybe if they understand that we've got some flexibility there, then they'd be more willing to put a bid out for us.
Yeah, a possibility.
But I think what you were saying a minute ago, and I think I suspect some of the commissioners have also thought about this. It's that bird in the hand concept that you have two bidders right now committed to two bids. And I think you're suggesting, tell me if I'm right, I think you're suggesting that you might have better luck pressing on the two bidders that we have to get them to reduce costs versus going out for bids again, possibly losing them and I'm gonna guess that your view on, inflation is that even by 30 days, it's not going down.
I don't think so. And I think there are some businesses that are involved in the types of materials we're using on this project that are continuing to escalate currently as we're talking.
Which can influence me some, because I came into this with a head of steam to put it out for bids again and require Letco and Casper to resubmit. But I think it's without that's dangerous.
Judge, I'm willing to bet that they've already allocated in their bids, they're thinking of a certain timeframe this job's gonna take. And they've already allocated that time on their schedules. And one thing I don't want to lose the opportunity to have this building built and to have the service come. And we move it farther out, then we have a good possibility of one will drop off just because of schedule.
I'm going to ask an uncomfortable question here, but we just bought this very expensive piece of equipment for paving.
Just got trained on it too.
So why can't we, the county, do the paving?
We can. We can do the paving, we can do things, you know, there's other things in here that we might be able to pull out. The goal to this bid was, yes, unfortunately it's high, but, you know, talking with Ben over this, if they have a turnkey project. Yeah, we pull things out, okay, we can do that, we can save the county money, just adding work to myself, technically, but, which is fine. But there's things that, you know, drainage, things like that, we have equipment. We can pull in the county employees, you know, when we get done with our paving, you know, everybody's rushed to get ready to pay. So when we get done with our paving, we have flexibility that we'll be able to move equipment and we can do some of the stuff ourselves. So, and I'm fine doing that. We've already committed to pretty much doing the electrical, underground. So we get power to the facility, you know, so spending more time there with more equipment, I don't see a problem with that.
Which reminds me, Scott mentioned $100,000 in what do you call it, contingency.
Correct.
And I'm telepathically hearing from Mr. Mega to remember that we have $100,000 in $250,000 grants.
Correct.
One from LCRA and one from the Housing Finance Authority. So it's a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we took one of these numbers and we sat down with the contractor and if we got a breakout of their bid and said, you know, the county can take in this, this, and this, and like you said, with the fueling systems, if there's a, you know, if it could be a different type of tank, or, you know, I don't know exactly what the plans call for and what that cost is. Maybe there's things that we can save in that scenario, that Starflight is fine with. You know, I'd be willing to pick a contractor right now and work with them to try to reduce the cost to get as close to where we need to be.
The part that I don't know that we want to spend a lot of time in Commissioner's Court discussing this, but he mentioned that the fueling system was, what did he say, the most expensive they've ever seen?
Yeah.
I'm having a little difficulty giving on that for this reason. It was, as I understand the design, it's a 1,000-gallon tank inside a concrete. Sorry, 10,000.
10,000 gallon tank.
Inside a concrete tub.
Which it has to be. There's no Anderson about that. Now, it might be a Cadillac tank compared to a Buick tank, I don't know. I don't know anything about fuel.
As long as we don't lose the concrete
Right, no, it has to be able to maintain, there's a certain percentage that has to be able to contain, and not, it might be 100%, I don't know.
Another area is supplying the base for the pad side and all of that. I believe the county was to do that, because I believe it'd be hundreds of thousands for the base and all of the subjects for that project. We can supply that somewhere. We'll get whatever it has. That would be the deduct from its benefits.
So,
Another option, I suppose, I didn't come in here thinking this way, but another option would be to, approve the low bid, or approve whatever bid you think is the correct one to approve, and authorize him to start negotiating. I guess, to some extent, us to start negotiating. And see where we wind up. That means you would not be to signing an agreement yet. But at least but I suppose it would move us down the road if we.
I would love to suggest that if it's a negotiation from all sides, from both the county perspective as to potentially elements that can be provided, even if it's just a material or material and installation from the county perspective with the contractor, and even potentially if Ben could coordinate with Starflight, potentially just looking at some of their current requests, are they wants versus a need? So for Commissioner Leisman, the fueling system area on the exterior of the building is $220,000. And I mean, it was very extensive, but it was at Starflight's request. And so I don't know if it's,
What are you talking about, very extensive? I mean, is it monitoring, or is it, what's the extensive, I mean, obviously we have to have a 10,000 gallon tank and a concrete burn around it, but what's extensive?
Just the products themselves. The tank system and the fuel containment system, as well as the data systems that they're using to monitor their fuel, expend their fuel, how it's all basically connected to a computer system to call for refueling and dispensing their fuel, was top of the line.
We can look into that. So we can look into that and try to negotiate some alternative methods for monitoring.
Yeah, and that may just be, what it has to be, but I just don't know if they have flexibility.
If I'm sensing the direction, I just want to be sure that I'm clear that we're talking about moving toward a negotiation. Negotiations can go one of two ways: successful or unsuccessful. And if we manage to whittle $2,000, that's unsuccessful for me. If we manage to bring the number down enough that it satisfies the four of you and me, then it's great, that's successful. And that's one way to go, is to move forward that way. It's up to you.
So I would probably make that recommendation. In the worst case scenarios, if we negotiated, if we selected a contractor and negotiated to a point that we felt we'd negotiated everything we possibly could negotiate, and the price is still out of our range, then we'll have to go back to the drawing board and go back up to bid again. With a different design or different information. So with that being said, with our two bids, I'll make a motion to, make a motion to contact the low bidder is Kendall Casper Construction, and work negotiations on a valued engineered cost of moving forward with the Starflight facility.
I'll second that, with our participation in doing what we can do to cut the costs from the county side.
Correct. Judge, do you see any wording that we need to add to that?
All right, second by Commissioner Weir, discussion. I'm gonna lose hope in a second because this is a big deal. I want to make sure everybody's understood. Because
Well,
I'm not happy.
so again, no, we're not, it's not to sign a contract for that amount.
I understand.
It's to work with that one vendor to bring the cost.
I understand. And I think I didn't come here thinking that way. I actually think that's the right way to go. And I'm still trying to imagine every other possibility. I guess in the meantime, that won't hurt. Maybe Mr. Baker can work some magic and we find some foundation that provides that.
Policeman fund.
ESP fund, is that what
So the leaseman fund.
Oh, leaseman fund.
it is for EMS. And,
Alright. All in favor, say aye. All opposed. Scott, do you understand where we are now?
Yes, sir. And I was wondering if I could ask Commissioner Leisman a favor, if he might be available to help us navigate the electrical bids that were received on the project. I would value his insight.
sure can.
Okay. The process has already started, so you could give me a week, I'll touch base with y'all and figure out how we can get everybody on board and move forward.
Are you, based on what you just said, are you thinking we should put this on the next agenda in 2 weeks?
Yes, sir. I think you could put it on the 28th, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we'll do our best. At least I think we might have a better feel for where costs projected to be by then.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Item 9 is a possible contract with Net Data, and I meant to ask Ms. Waller a question or two about this before coming into the meeting, but as I understand it, it is the lowest available alternative, and it provides another avenue for the public to be able to get to her records and anything.
We'll just be putting all of my court records online, and this is the cheapest avenue at this time to do that for the public.
Now, this is different from e-filing, right?
This is the e-filing court records, so this would be any court-related documents would be available to the public through NetData's website.
Okay. So there's probably 20 or more services that you can sign up with, that a lawyer can sign up with to do e-filing.
Yes.
There's the state system, state provided system, and then there's other systems that the state has certified, right? Okay. Take a look.
This would just be putting my records out there online.
Okay.
So an attorney sitting anywhere, anytime of the day or night can look at what has been filed on their client, if their client has a court date, if they've got a court-appointed attorney.
But anybody can, right?
Anybody can, yes.
Not just attorneys.
Not just attorneys. I just was using attorneys as a reference.
And who else does this? That you know
Oh, other vendors. iDocket is one that I was looking at heavily, and the cost was just way too high at this time.
of? Anybody else?
No other vendors that I looked at.
Okay. Do we think maybe, the Odyssey group does, but that would be the.
Odyssey does, but
If iDocket is a Cadillac, Odyssey is a Mercedes. Okay. So,
I'm good.
not good. So, it's up for your consideration.
I move for the county judge to enter into a contract with Ned David to make court records available online to the public.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
Commissioner Eaker, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, contract with e-recording partners.
I make a motion to authorize the county judge to enter into a contract with e-recording partners network for secondary avenue of electronically filed documents into official public records, pending county attorney approval.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Riley, discussion. So is e-recording partners one of those that I was just referring to, like the 20 or so, 25, maybe more
Yes.
e-filing vendors
Yes.
that are partnered with the state?
Correct.
Okay. So why, what about the other 20 plus? Why do we have contracts with everybody?
Because they're not all approved by our county attorney.
Okay. But they could be, I mean, if they apply, I mean. Okay. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 11.
I make a motion to authorize the county judge to accept and sign the agreement and to grant permission to allow access to the use of software agreement and system among Lebanon County, Round Mountain DFD, and Central Square.
Is there a second? Second. Commissioner Riley, discussion.
So before, this brings, how many agencies in the county are not on the CAD system after this agreement?
Johnson City Fire and Johnson City Police.
Only two that are not, so other than that, everybody else will be on the CAD system.
Johnson City Fire and who?
Johnson City PD.
But Johnson City Police is working on this.
It's coming soon.
Who are they with comment?
And Constable Precinct
Oh,
4.
yeah, and Constable 4.
But just to give credit where credit's due, this is a system that's working across the board for law enforcement, fire, and EMS. So very pleased with this system.
Is Johnson City still on the cop sync or whatever it is?
Yes, presently they are, but they are working with Central Square to move on to it.
How fast is that happening?
October.
October.
Like in the contract, new contract, that thing?
New budget year.
Budget cycle.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 12, the fourth amendment to the Axon body camera. Very good. Nobody? Nobody?
I'll make a motion to authorize the county judge to accept and sign the fourth amendment to the master service purchase agreement between the state to purchase of one Axon body camera outlined in the sheriff's office budget.
Is there a second?
Second.
Commissioner Weir, discussion? Any discussion based on all the reviews? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Item 13, So, Mrs. Dominic's here, and, she's been on board now less than 3 months, and she noticed that we spend a lot of money on trailer rental each year, depending on the election. Every time there's an election, every time there's an event, and we rent a trailer because there's so much equipment to move around here and there. And she believes it would be long-term beneficial for the county to have a trailer. Trailers are kind of expensive, but we have discovered one that that's here in Johnson City and for sale by an individual. And I don't know, you might have better information, but I think something like that at Magna trailer would go for maybe closer to 10, I'm not sure, thousand, but he's asking 4,500 and doesn't seem to want to negotiate any further. So we are asking for you to consider purchasing a trailer for Blanco County and specifically for the elections department.
Can I ask,
Asking you.
do you know the height? Because you have to bend down to get in, or can you walk in?
You should be able to walk in it.
Yes.
I mean, by the look at it, it's 9 by 17, I think Connie's the one that looked at it, she said, you can't stand up in it. Alan can stand up
So I purchased a trailer similar to this about 5 years ago for 3,500 used. So I'll make a motion to,
I think just for recording, what you're saying is 3,500 5 years ago translates to probably better than 4,500 today.
correct. So I make a motion to purchase a 2015 cargo trailer from Randy Elmore for the elections department.
Is there a second?
I'll say.
I think I actually heard Mr. Ryan. Okay, but they could be 45 prior to the
Okay, so the only question is where we get the money from that? Where's the money coming from?
That's the question. We do have some money in our budget. Yeah, it's the leftover from.
It's the Catholic Common Forces left over in,
Tractor for capital equipment,
yeah,
tractor purchase.
yeah, you all purchased some equipment and you paid less than what we budgeted and just funds left over in there. And then
There's like $9,000 left in that line.
Correct. Okay. That's right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Yeah.
Okay. So this time,
Would you like to do the burn ban that way if anybody?
sure. 2017, Bernard. All right. Nothing on item 17. So, with that said, this time, and it is approximately 9. 10:08, the court will go into the closed session at this time. So, takes a couple of meetings back. 5 people. So, potential litigation.
Right.
I'll watch the door. Deputy comes to me.
The court is now,
Yes.
the court is now reconvened in open session. Time is 10:50 a.m. No action was taken while in closed session. And we remain with item number 6.
So I make a motion to engage Allison Bass McGee to represent the county in a legal matter in reference to the Carter, Creek apartment complex.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Weir seconds, discussion. And specifically, this is the complex on the southwest side, just outside of Johnson City limits.
Correct, it's within the EPJ of Johnson City.
And this is an exploratory engagement with Allison Bass to see what the county's
Correct.
rights and remedies are.
Correct.
Anything else? All in favor, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. I think we covered everything else but item 18.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
For a second,
Second.
Mr. Riley, discussion, all in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carries.